Hi, my name is Andy Mangold. I'm a designer. I work with my three best friends to make websites and mobile applications. I'm going to talk really fast and make the most of this 5 minutes, so prepare yourself. Fire it off. If I could have lunch with one person, living or dead, I would definitely choose Marshall McLuhan. He was a philosopher that spoke about communication, but instead of writing about what was actually being communicated, he wrote about the way in which we communicate. See, at any given time and place, there are good people and bad people and extraordinary people and average people. What changes is the way in which they interact with each other. He identified 3 major shifts in media across time, and this fundamentally changed the way that we as humans interact with one another, which in turn fundamentally changed our lives. The first big shift was the invention of the phonetic alphabet, which took these meaningless symbols and attached them to these meaningless sounds and used that combination to tell really complex narratives and represent really big ideas. But more important, it drew a line in the sand between the literate and the illiterate, which was the first time we had a sort of division of knowledge. In tribal culture, no one really knew or understood much more than anybody else. The second big shift was the invention of movable type printing, which took this idea of literacy and blew it out of the water and made it 10 times what it is. It was the first mechanization of a complex handicraft, which laid the groundwork for the Industrial Revolution, and it really created the foundation for civilization in the Western world as we know it. The third big shift was the invention of a telegraph and other electronic communication, and this gave more power back to all 5 senses, whereas in the printing revolution, we lost out to the purely visual printed word. And McLuhan predicted this would actually, in a way, re-tribalize us because we were getting all 5 of our senses back in the way we're communicating. Now, he unfortunately died in 1980 before he could see the effects of his predicted re-tribalization. And now that we have things like cell phones in our pockets all the time and the World Wide Web and the internet, we really are in a lot of ways becoming one big tribe. He once said that if the phonetic alphabet was like a bomb that was dropped on tribal man, that the movable type printing was like a 100 megaton nuclear warhead that would eventually destroy him forever. And this kind of laid the foundations for Western world and civilization and science, technology, and all these amazing things. I would propose that television, radio, and cinema was the bomb that was dropped on civilized man, and the internet is the 100 megaton nuclear warhead that's going to destroy civilized man forever. And this is not a bad thing. See, civilization is great for humanity as a whole. It's great for advances in science and technology and all these amazing things we wouldn't be able to have without it. But society doesn't necessarily favor the individual. It leads to social classes and the idea that you're not satisfied with your place in life and the rat race. And I mean, we're animals, and we're not necessarily built for the social world we've sort of constructed around us all in the name of advancement. I mean, nowadays we have something like the terrible event that happened in Haiti, the earthquake. And as soon as it happens, images and first-person accounts are sent out globally to everybody, and people across the globe can actually really empathize with these people in this terrible situation, unlike ever before. And because of that, we see unprecedented outpouring of support that wasn't possible just 10 years earlier. And the revolution that happened in Egypt a few weeks ago, or a few months ago, rather, is being called a social media revolution in a lot of ways because of how important Twitter and Facebook were to these people when they were organizing themselves to sort of organize their unrest. And it doesn't take a terrible thing to bring us together either. When we were just gently shaken by the earthquake on the East Coast a few weeks ago, within, no laughing. Wait, within 4 minutes, there were 3 million Facebook updates about the earthquake. Within 12 minutes, we had our own Wikipedia page for it. And some people read about it on Twitter before they actually felt the tremors of the quake because light speed beat the vibrations itself. Now, I was finishing this presentation this past Sunday, which was the 10th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks in New York, and I got an email from meetup.com, which is a website that facilitates local face-to-face interactions between people through the internet. And they were talking about how the inspiration for their entire service was a sense of community felt in New York and across the country after these terrible attacks, after we had this shared experience and this shared fear, and how much that brought us together in ways we didn't know were possible. So we have digital media now trying to emulate and bring us together in real, actual, tangible ways, which is really powerful. And the fact of the matter is that most digital media today is an emulation or facilitation of some other tribal or printed interaction. I mean, an instant message is just some emulation of a conversation, and an email is just an emulation of you sending a letter to your friend. And this is not taking full advantage of the unbelievable potential of this medium. E-books, for example, are just pictures of books on a screen. I mean, a book was designed for limitations of materials and people with needs hundreds of years ago. It wasn't designed for the screen. There's so much untapped potential. The digital media is in pubescence right now. We have all this new potential. We have no idea what to do with it. Facebook has 750 million active accounts. That is unbelievable. That's 11% of every single person on the whole planet. That's over a third of every single person with access to the internet. This is the biggest, most diverse connection of people in the history of humanity. And what have we done with this? It's become one giant distraction, more or less. We connect with people that we've already connected with in real life. We support things that we already support in real life, and we're not tapping into the unbelievable power that this sort of connection can facilitate. And this is what's changing the world today. I mean, this is the times we're living in, and we have to be aware of the power we have at our disposal and take advantage of it. McLuhan said that we are as unaware of the media in our time as a fish is to the water it swims in, and I really think that's true. I mean, the fact of the matter is that this stuff's changing the world every single day, and it's not big institutions, it's me, and it's you, and it's every single person reading your Twitter streams that you're tweeting to right now. This stuff, we're in the driver's seat. We have the power, and it's kind of like on us to do something really interesting and unique with this sort of information. So, thank you.